Welcome back, folks. MACTFORDEDGE, and today we're going to address something that's been flying around quite a bit in the post office. Merry Christmas from Ford, right? We are now going to tell you not to use your passenger side seat because it can kill the passenger. Yeah, that's what they're saying, death. So we'll go ahead and read verbatim on this information that, of course, has been passed to me via the letters in the mighty interweb. And first of all, it's a safety recall notice. Yes, 16S26, and it's an NHTSA recall of 16V-384. Just in case you want to know the numbers so you can decide what you're going to do. Now, I'm going to go over this letter real quick, and then I made a few phone calls. Yes, I called my insurance company and asked them, am I covered? And then I called Ford dealership and asked them what they can do. And you'll be surprised about the answers I got. And, of course, we're going to start with this. First of all, kudos on Ford for sending it out and letting people know that, hey, the airbag's got a problem. And we do want to help, and they also list down what your vehicle is, Ford, Lincoln, MKX, whatever it is. It looks like it's fallen under the 2007 through 2010 model years. And, of course, it lists your VIN number when you get the letter. And I'll post a copy of this letter up that was sent to me showing Lincoln MKX. But the Ford letter is the same, and it's identical. It's verbatim. It's a cookie-cutter letter written by corporate lawyers to basically try to help in devising what to do. And it is agreed upon by the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration. Essentially, it's a remedy that Ford has come up with them. So if you think you're going to get anywhere with these folks, they're in it with Ford. So what are you going to do? And all you can do. And I have a question because I don't know who in their right mind would think this is a good idea. You know, on the surface of it, when you read the letter, you're just sort of left awestruck. Why is Ford and why is the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration letting this letter go out with no remedy? Really? You know, if you're a family of 5, basically they're telling you you're going to have to sacrifice one of your family members. That's almost insane. It's not something I would expect as a remedy, and I don't think the average person thinks that is a remedy either. So I'll let you all decide. I'm just the bearer of the bad news at this point, even though Ford's sending these letters out. And they go, what is the issue? And basically the frontal airbag inflator may rupture in the event of a crash. And then during that crash, it necessitates the airbag deployment on the passenger side. Now, they're not addressing the driver's side, and I thought the driver's side was an issue too, but they're not issuing this letter for the driver's side. Point one of thought. If they were to say not to sit in the driver's side because this airbag could kill you, then that means you can't drive your car. Yeah, I think we're fishing here. Either way, think of that. Think about that, because Takata made the airbags for, I'm going to believe, the passenger and the driver's side. I don't know that there's any difference. I could be wrong. Okay, so you may have to check that out more, but we're going to address the passenger side since looks like the wife or mother-in-law is going to have to sit on the roof. I don't know. But anyway, it may rupture, and the resulting rupture of this airbag will send flying metal fragments and shrapnel into the vehicle occupants sitting in the seat. Oh boy, and it may cause serious injury or death. Okay, so legalese and all this other stuff. They give you the Takata Ford link, and then they also give you the safecar.gov link to further inquiry into what's going on. But basically, the remedy of the repairs is not available. In other words, no airbags are available for you. And this leaves you sort of holding the ball, don't it? Yeah, because basically they're saying don't allow anybody to sit in the passenger side. Go figure. So that means somebody is sitting in the back and you only got 3 seats and you got family of 5, or you got 5 passengers including driver. Then what do? Do you sit them all the way in the back? Apparently, I don't know. There's no remedy. There is no remedy. And that is where you're starting to get into the problem on this. I don't know if there is a thought process on how the public would perceive this recall by you telling them you can't use your front seat. And if it's your only car, the person you do put in that seat is in serious jeopardy of a life-threatening explosion. You know, granted, what is the chances of it going off? Well, during a crash, and there's a lot of crashes, it could be an issue, okay? So, I'm not going to say Ford's trying to kill everybody, because they're not. That's not the point behind this. This is the thought process behind this decision. I don't know what to tell y'all. You know, it's not funny, but you can't deny the reality of the letter, right? And that's really what it is. So it brought such attention to my mind that, you know, I had to call. So what I did is I thought, first of all, how does this letter affect my car insurance? So what I want you all to do is go ahead and listen to this conversation I had with my car insurance provider to determine what they say about my insurance covering somebody sitting in this front seat knowing the airbag is faulty. So let's go ahead and listen to this conversation.
Thank you for calling. This is Jennifer. How can I help you today?
Yes, Jennifer, I have a question concerning my Ford Edge.
Okay, yeah, I'd be happy to take a look at it. Can I have your name, please?
Bill.
Thank you so much. And I'm just getting your policy coming up here. Okay, and it's the 2 Ford Edges here on the policy.
Yes, and I'm talking about either one, but basically what Ford has done is sent out a recall letter that states specifically that I can no longer use my front passenger seat because the airbag will kill the passenger. So I'm asking, what happens if I have 5 people I got to transport in my car and somebody has to sit in the front seat?
In terms of your insurance?
Yeah. Because Ford has said that the person sitting in the passenger seat has a strong potential of becoming maimed, injured, or killed from the airbag. And therefore should not use the airbag. Or should not use the front seat.
And they're not going to... well, in terms of
They have no parts available to replace it.
That's crazy, man.
And it's indefinite.
Wow. Well,
what are my liabilities? I got a family of 5. It's
right.
my own. I got the 2 cars. I got to take 2 cars, but then I get other people in the car. Then what?
You know, I am not sure. Let me. Do you mind if I put you on a brief hold and I'll call over to underwriting and ask them about it?
Okay.
All right. I'll be right back.
Thank you.
Bill?
Yes.
Thank you so much for holding. I sure appreciate that. So I talked to Stephanie in underwriting. She said that the vehicle is covered, that it shouldn't have an effect on a claim, that there may be circumstances under which that isn't the case, but the vehicle is covered and the people in it are covered.
Okay, irregardless of whether Ford says that the airbag can kill you.
Right.
Okay, so if I have to, I can still use the front seat and not worried about getting sued and and my house taken away and everything else because Ford says I can't use the front seat?
Yes. I say that with caveats, of course, that there may be circumstances in which there may be exceptions. I can't think of any, and underwriting couldn't think of any, but that doesn't mean there aren't any.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Well, the thing is they're saying you can't use the airbag, so I was just wondering, if that can come back and, against me if I have to put somebody in the front seat.
What I'm wondering is if you can get it disconnected.
They're not even offering that.
I would call the dealership and ask them if, given the circumstances, if you can have it just disconnected, because it's better to have somebody, with just a seatbelt, I would think, than an airbag that can kill you.
Yeah, I mean, they state right in the letter that you could be killed by it.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, what a choice, right?
Yeah, but if it were me, that's what I would do. I would call the dealer and say, look, this is the letter I got. I want this disconnected, and that's the direction I would go.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to see what the insurance side of the house was on this, too. So make more informed decisions, so to speak.
Sure. No, I understand. And I'm sorry I can't give you a more definitive answer. But underwriting said that the vehicle is covered, that the passengers are covered.
Okay, so if you have insurance for medical and injury, bodily injury and all that, then you're still covered under that aspect.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I guess the next call is to Ford.
Yep, that's what I would do.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time.
You are very welcome. So sorry to hear that you're having such a difficult issue. And you've got two of them. Gosh, that's terrible.
Yeah, the underwriting never heard of that?
No, apparently the car makers don't call us up and tell us these things.
I mean, one would think that y'all might want to know about this one because that's pretty serious.
That's pretty serious. I will pass the information along on our chain, but I don't know what will happen with it, frankly.
Well, yeah, I mean, but it does affect the insurance claims, I would think, if there's accidents in these cars and people are getting killed.
Yeah, I would think so too.
And I think they'd be concerned about the bottom line, at least on that aspect. Not only the death, we all don't want that to happen, but it would definitely cause for more output in funds and something that could have been prevented.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
Well, thank you for your help again, and you have a very good New Year. Okay.
You too. Thank you so much for calling in and being a member with us.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. Now, wasn't that an interesting conversation? We take away from it that you're covered. They're not really weighing too much into this airbag thing, but if you have bodily injury and all this other stuff, full coverage on your car, apparently, if somebody is injured during this accident because of this airbag, you're covered. Now, is Ford taking advantage of insurance that you're paying for to cover any injuries that occur because of a faulty airbag by Takata? I mean, we're weighing all this in, and again, if you want to make comments, join MACTFORDEDGE on Facebook to make your comments. Be nice, and we'll of course listen to what you have to say. No derogatory stuff, but a good, responsible conversation is what we're looking for. But your insurance is going to cover it, apparently. Mine is. They're telling me if I put somebody in a Ford Edge with a bad airbag, my insurance for bodily injury and harm and everything will, of course, take effect and cover that person sitting in the front passenger seat. Now, in turn, I went and made this other phone call because I wanted to know what the dealership says. And I called the dealership because my question, as related to the advice by the insurance company, was to ask if the dealership in Ford would allow me to bring my Edge in and have them disconnect the passenger side airbag so that we don't have this problem of getting, killed possibly due to the explosion of the airbag. And this is what the dealership service department manager told me. Listen to this.
Hey, how may I help you?
Yes, this is Bill Trammell, and I'm calling to ask a question on a quandary I have with a friend of mine that I'm working on his 2008 Ford Edge. And he showed me he has a letter from Ford saying not to put anybody in the passenger seat.
Okay. I have not heard. It must be a recall, I'm assuming.
It's a recall on the airbag, and it says the airbag can kill you.
Nice.
And not to sit in the front passenger seat. Well,
Okay.
he has a family of 5. So what does he do? Put the wife on the roof rack or what?
Well, do you have the warranty number? Is that in front of you at all?
No, I don't have that. I was just calling.
No.
Basically, the question I have is, since there's no real sight of an airbag replacement, according to this letter, they're saying sometime in the spring, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my question for you as service department, if I present this letter, can you as a service department, free of charge, disable this potentially lethal device so that I can at least put somebody in the seat without fear of them being killed?
Give me just a second, okay?
Okay.
Sorry about the hold. This is Ian. How can I help you?
Yes, I'm calling to see if there's possibility of taking this 2008 Ford Edge and having the passenger side airbag essentially deactivated. And that way the front can still be used, because the safety recall notice from Ford 16S26 says that basically not to put anybody in the front passenger seat because the frontal airbag inflator may rupture in the event of a crash and I can't even pronounce it right now. Necessitating airbag deployment, and it can subsequently cause serious injury or death.
Unfortunately, we are not allowed to do anything to those beyond wait for the parts. If there's any further questions, it would just have to be directed to that phone number. They haven't given us any leeway or any ability to do anything to it beyond wait for parts at this point and replace them as they become available.
Okay, so essentially can't use the front passenger seat, so I put my wife on the roof rack, is what you're saying?
I'm saying that we can't do anything else beyond replace the parts when they become available. Yes.
Okay, I know you're stuck in a rock and a hard place here, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay, so I can't get you to agree that this is silly.
If I did, it wouldn't do any good.
What lawyer actually thought this was a good idea?
Well, they're kind of stuck in between a rock and a hard place in the fact that, if they don't put the recall out while they're waiting for parts, if they don't announce it until after they have parts, well, then they're accused of trying to brush it under the rug or hide it. So it's a bad situation, obviously, there's no doubt about it. They're trying to get parts just as quick as they can, but until they're available, we can't put a part in that doesn't exist or we don't have.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they're manufacturing them as we speak.
So, and meanwhile, 2007 through 2010, roughly 1 million Ford Edges are no longer 5-passenger but 4-passenger.
In the meantime, yeah, I know I think they're starting in the Gulf Coast area and heading north. It is a humidity-related issue.
Well, there's no humidity in Iowa, right?
No, I get it, but not the consistent year-round that you'd get in Florida,
Okay.
that kind of thing, Gulf Coast.
So if I took my car down to Texas or Louisiana, I'd have a better chance?
If you registered it there, yeah.
Okay. Well, this ought to be a
They're
fun,
releasing the parts
fun 6 months.
the vehicles register, yeah, as it goes.
Yeah, there's sometime in the spring of 2018. That's a pretty big window, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
All right.
I guess we're going to just go to the casino and buy lottery tickets.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye. Now, wasn't that an interesting conversation? You know, just through his mannerisms, you hear in his voice, he isn't buying this either, is he? And as we know, if you live in the South, you have first dibs on the new airbag. So if you're living down Texas, Louisiana, Florida, high humidity areas down there, you get first dibs on these. So you're probably getting yours fixed, and then as they get them fixed, it's moving up the northern part of the United States as it progresses. So they're going to start out in high humidity, high rust areas, and then move on from there. So this is what the dealership said. In other words, what they're telling us is if you got this letter, you're going to have to call Ford themselves. I have not called Ford themselves because I'm pretty sure they're not going to give me anything more than I'm already gotten from the dealership because they're not going to give you a car to drive in the meantime, folks. It's not happening. They're not going to do it. You got to stop and think. 2007 through 2010, they sold roughly 250,000 vehicles, say on the average, probably less initially, but that many Edges, we're looking at just about 1 million Ford Edges. Yeah, roughly about 1 million Ford Edges and Lincoln MKXs and everything else all added up together. And then you stop and think, is this a worldwide thing? And if so, then we're talking even more all over the place. But, you know, we're going to start out with a baseline of 1 million. And that's a lot of airbags, folks. I don't care how you split it. That is a lot of airbags. And we want to make sure that whatever we do, we, of course, get ourselves on over to the dealership. Get yourself registered in the waiting list for the bags. And then once they do come available, then I'm sure the dealership will call you. But you can keep calling them and checking out because sometimes they forget us, right? So you can call them up and ask them. But get yourself on that list. Get over there to your local Ford dealership and make sure they are aware that you know you need a new airbag, and that way you can get it started once they do become available. But I just wanted to cover this a bit so you guys could all understand what's going on with this and this airbag, because this has been coming out in December and in droves, November. Some have gotten these letters already before, but essentially it's getting everybody sort of up in arms about it. And you know, if it's me, folks, you just have to take your chances in life, and this is one of the chances. So I'm not saying they're right, I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm gonna be Sweden on this and just say they need to fix it, and we need to be good consumers and make sure they do fix it and get it done. But with that being said, this is MACTFORDEDGE, and of course join up on Facebook because that's how you're going to get a hold of me, and also like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. And of course remember, the Band of One always plays great music, and remember my feet hit the floor today and I'm having a great day, and I want you to have a great day too. And with that being said, Mercy Girl's got a couple one-liners she's going to toss at you, and maybe I'll scrounge up some extra footage I found on the cutting room floor. But you guys have all have a great day.
Thank you for watching MacT's videos, and remember to like and subscribe. This is a Mercy Girl production.